Cara, assim, eu vi o jogo da Cloud9, o primeiro, assim, foi muito bonito de ver, então eu tô torcendo muito pra eles. No jogo de amanhã, minha torcida fica com eles.
Difícil, hein, velho? Mas vai dar DRX. Eu sou muito fã dos asiáticos e tal.
Cara, a Cloud9 ela vem forte, confio no EA e tal, ele era muito bom de Chamber, né, mas eu acho que tipo, ele demonstrou mais do que isso, só que a DRX eles são consistentes, né, eles se provaram no último Mundial e tal, então eu acho que amanhã dá DRX.
As we gaze upon this beautiful city, do you think the people down there know that El Diablo walks among them? Hola, and welcome to day 5 of Lock-In, coming at you live from the Ginásio do Ibirapuera in São Paulo, Brazil. Of course, I'm Golden Boy on the desk here, and I'm with Mimi and Tom, who's joining us as the sole EMEA representative.
Yes, let's do it. I'm ready to see all my favorite EMEA teams play today. You've got Giants, you've obviously got Koi, can't wait to see Carmine Corp coming back strong.
Yeah,
they're going to smash it today. It's going to be amazing.
Should we tell them?
No.
Should we? No?
Tell me what?
Let him. No.
The lower bracket. You know the lower bracket where they get to come back through.
Oh.
You remember FPX last year where they like lower bracket won
honey.
Copenhagen? I can't wait for it. It's going to be so good.
Honey. God bless you. Anyway.
Poor soul.
What's happening?
Poor soul.
Where's Scream?
They're out. Before we get into today's matches, though, let's talk about what happened yesterday on this stage. First, we had NRG, and they looked a little out of sorts, right? Dropping that map against Giants, but then they rebounded in a big way, but an authoritative comeback with back-to-back wins. And Tom, I know it's an EMEA team, but Giants, they played hard, and I made a lot of great fast food reference puns.
That's
but
true.
I will say this much: NRG looked dynamic.
Don't worry, Tom. NRG is also an EMEA team now.
Yeah,
with Artis
exactly.
on them.
That's true.
Artis, they got Artis on the team, and then in map 1, FNS out-fragged him. So, you know, obviously it went incredibly well. I will say that first map, Coutinho, was utterly incredible, but that was when it just flipped the gear. We got to see Haven, the fact that you looked at that map as like, that was Ye's hometown. They smashed them even without him. The new team looks even better. And then on the third map, it just never really quite looked like Giants were there.
Yeah.
And NRG definitely were.
Yeah, NRG are still just following the storyline of they need like about 10 rounds to wake up, and then they look absolutely incredible after that.
Yeah, exactly. And now, when we look at the other match that we had on the stage, right? We had Loud facing off against Scream and the boys over in Carmine Core, and that was a 2-0 victory. And we finally got to see the return of Split, so that was nice. Split's still a great map, still a banger, but more importantly, though, Loud came out there with an objective. But credit to Carmine Core, Mimi, because, had a few things gone their way, they could have pulled the upset off.
Yeah, I mean, this first map really just rewired my brain. The Harbor versus Harbor head-to-head was just absurd to think about. You have so many smokes flying left and right. I can't even speak because I'm still thinking about how crazy it was. But when we got to map number 2, it was a little bit more well-secured for Loud. In that second half, again, when things started to slip away, similar to their first match, they proved that under pressure, these individuals are just going to step up and find those moments to be able to close out matches and stay in it.
Yeah. What'd you make of Loud from that one? Because I felt like Loud, they have had a little bit of a rocky run here because, you're playing in front of this very passionate crowd. So the tension obviously is going to be really high on that stage,
Well,
Tom.
that was the thing that sort of impressed me the most was I was expecting to come into this tournament and, okay, less has been exactly how it was, but I was expecting Aspas to almost have to carry. It's been anything but. Like, Kawazine has been absolutely unbelievable. Tuyiz as well has been cracked. So it's looking like more of a complete team than I thought it would be this early on.
Yeah, if anything, I would say that the 2 new players have actually looked better than the core of this roster thus far.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I thought was going to be a problem for Loud, and turns out I know diddly squat because they came up there, which is a Tuesday, if I'm being honest with y'all. But you guys know what this means, though, right? It means we get NRG facing off against Loud tomorrow. Bless you, Valorant gods. You gave us the script that we all deserve. It feels a little too perfect, though, Tom, doesn't it? Too perfect.
No, I would say that it's horrible. Like, I'm seeing all of these, like, this orange and blue, and there's not enough, like, pinky purple in there. You know, can we just get to a mega group where we have the good EMEA team?
I mean, this half of the bracket is just like Americas and Pacific domination. Those are the only 2 regions left in this side. The matches today are going to be fantastic. We get Cloud9 versus DRX to start, and then we get EG Talon, which is such a fun kind of like head-to-head of 2 of the kind of underdog teams that came into this tournament that I don't think most people had high expectations for. And now both of them have a chance to just be 1 match away from qualification into the BO5 phase.
Yeah, and I think that is the most impressive part about this, right? Yes, the tournament format is, you know, a rough one, especially if you come out with some really unique strategies. But to see EG and Talon in that position, Tom, that's awesome.
Well, I think especially Talon, they already fought that uphill battle versus the crowd, and then now they go into what is probably more of a 50-50 match. I think they're going to be gunning to take down a few more names as a team that I think most people expected to get first rounded.
Yeah, and that's going to be such a fun head-to-head of the rookies. You have 3 players where this is their first international event on EG. You have 2 over on Talon. It really is going to be kind of I think a pivotal moment to prove that one of these 2 teams really can compete at the top level with the big dogs in this tournament.
And we have been treated to some incredible plays and performances on this stage so far. And honestly, the event is only just started. We still have another side of the bracket to go through. And I think we might be in for, dare I say, some hair-raising performances.
What? What is that? I already had hair. We didn't need to add it.
Why does mine look so much worse than everyone else's?
Why do I look like an extra in LMFAO? Like, I just feel like I'm just like a background dancer in Party Rock, if anyone remembers that song from
Fun fact,
Godness.
that's actually 2 real photos from when both of you were in high school. That's what they used to look like before they went
This
bald.
is true,
I
actually.
probably looked worse, if I'm being honest.
All right. Well, you know what? Pretty sure everyone at home is trying to figure out what the hell this segment is. So, Tom, let's go ahead and start with you. Who do you think pretty much had the most hair-raising performance? Who do you think is going to make my hair stand up?
That's the thing. I'm actually picking the man with the most hair. I'm going with Zeppa. Now, this guy, when you look at how well he played in the initial match, it was absolutely unbelievable. One of the craziest clutches I think I've ever been lucky enough to cast. Like, just not only reading the scenario so fantastically well, but him being part of that initial core. Now, people looked at that Cloud9 roster and went, oh, yeah, they've added in Zelsis is good too, and then they forgot about the guys on the other side, the guys who were there all along. And this clutch was one of the filthiest things I think I've ever seen. Maybe a little bit lucky with the first kill, but everything from there on was just beauty.
Yeah, I mean, this entire series was just perfection out of Zeppa. I think from him and the rest of the core of C9 as well, people forgot about them, and now that they're back on the international stage, they just look so incredibly at home here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a disgusting ace from Zeppa. Does everything that you need for them. But here's the thing. Didn't make my hair raise. I don't feel...
Really? What?
I felt like that was pretty good.
Are you dead inside?
a little bit. At least the top of my head is.
Okay.
All right, Mimi, what you got for me?
Maybe I have something that can get the hair raising. I don't know if that's a sentence anyone's ever said before, but I just said it now. And the man that I want to point out is Ethan. I think that Ethan, another player who we've missed out on internationally for a little bit and is now heading back into the fray and looking absolutely fantastic. He came out for EG and played Yoru on their debut matchup. And I really love the ideas that EG brought out with this character on Pearl. And on top of that, I think he just played it so incredibly well individually. Switch over to map number 2. He's on the KO on Ascent, and that just looks absolutely fantastic as well. Ethan was the top performer for EG across that match, and I'm really, really excited to watch him going into today. I think that match versus Talon is going to be a very close one, and if Ethan can keep up the insane performance he had in their debut, they have a strong chance of winning that.
I mean, every single play that Ethan was doing was just absolutely outstanding. And oh my God!
What? Guy, look at your head.
I thought that the hair was going to raise on the top of my arm, but it ended up growing on my head. It's a miracle. Tom has hair. I didn't even know you had black hair.
Yeah, no, it really matches with the rest of the sort of hair I have on my body.
Shocked.
I think it's beautiful.
I was going to make a very inappropriate joke, but this is great. I mean, thank you, Mimi.
I mean, what are you guys going to do with your newfound abilities?
I think I have a modeling career. Like, the contract, I'm pretty sure, just got sent to my phone as we speak.
I mean,
congratulations.
Step aside keeps. Mimi has cured male pattern baldness, everyone, with some VALORANT plays. But, of course, we need your help at home. Who you think is going to have the most hair-raising performance today? Is it going to be Ethan? Is it going to be Zeppa? Or is it going to be Tombiz with
Tom, you're playing?
whatever's going on over there. Scan the
Wouldn't be the
QR.
first time. I replaced Ben Kai once, you know, now. Like,
Looked pretty good in that series.
Scan that QR code. Get out there and vote right now. Look at Tom. Look, damn, this is move over Zoolander.
Tom, you look like an aristocrat. Like, you look like slicked back. I feel like you're about to stand up in like the House of Parliament
no.
and like give a speech on some new legislation. It's a great look for you.
Yeah.
I feel smarter already.
You really
genuinely.
do. It's true.
I don't know. I just
Okay.
wanna stare down the lens.
There's too much sexual
don't let
energy
him look
over
into-
there. All right, remember. Use the hashtag VCT
Don't
Lock
touch
in
the hair.
so that we can highlight all of your tweets on today's broadcast
Oh,
that
it's
is
warm.
being shared on the internet. Get out there and have a good time with that. Mimi,
Guys,
what's up?
we need a break. Can we get someone in here with a shaver? Like, these guys
Yeah.
are not going to be able
Hey,
to
no,
focus
no,
with the
no.
hair on
I
the
just
head.
got it back. Come on.
I just don't think the
least give me
world
a
is
few
going to be
days.
okay with me having this hair.
No.
It's just unfair.
We need to shut it down.
At some point, then what happens to Yinsu? She has all the hair. Anyway, folks,
Also, me and Mitch together.
would be too much.
It's too much.
Here's the thing, guys. 4 of the world's most exciting teams are ready to take that stage today. And when we come back, we're going to break down our first match. It's going to be between the Americas Cloud9 and the Pacific's DRX. Don't go anywhere. We're going to shave our heads. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back to Lock In. Unfortunately, they had to bust out the shavers, and honestly, we have some of the best hair and makeup teams in all of esports
It was
here.
quite fast.
It was incredible. They
You
cleaned
know,
up all the
they
hair.
would have a great career in the military, just shaving heads full time.
Oh, God. Okay.
Let's go ahead and talk about our first match of the day because it's a doozy and a half. Some might even say a quadra banger. That's right, not a giga banger, not a mega banger, a quadra banger. I don't know what that means,
What's
but
after
Albert wrote it
quadra?
in the script. Anyway, it's going to be Cloud9 versus DRX. Now, first, let's talk about DRX because this is a team that, they have looked so strong in their debut here. But what's funny is it's not really even a debut. They've been here before. This is one of the most consistent rosters. They made a change and decided, we're going to stick with what we know. We'll give Fox9 a little bit more time.
Well, I think they had an interview with their coach, and it was one of those things where they basically came out and was like, look, we haven't had really enough time with Foxy for it to be worth actually throwing him into the team. And so instead, let's stick with the core that managed to get top 3 at the previous event. Honestly, who could have thought of that one?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And the same coordination that we've come to expect from DRX stayed true. I thought they worked incredibly well together, did a fantastic job of setting Buzz up on the jet. They did drop that one map of Ascent, but other than that, the 2 other maps looked absolutely perfect from DRX.
Yeah, and also, too, this is a team that, traditionally in the past, right, they have struggled, on occasion against the NA squads. And I think that this is going to be something that they are going to want to try and course correct here, especially being able to take down Ye and his newly formed Cloud9.
That's the thing. I think it is that sort of Ye factor. They were never that good, but versus other North American teams, they actually did pretty well.
Yeah, it is. And also, way back in the day, Champions 2021, the old version of this Cloud9 roster actually beat DRX, Vision Strikers at the time. So there's some history here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, of course, you know, when you talk about, and I guess give me a way to like personify how DRX's style is on this, especially in this matchup, right? Because I feel like we're getting a lot of unique strategies out of Cloud9, whereas DRX, we're seeing the tried and true work out very well for them.
I'll be honest, I think they might be the best set play team in the world. Like, initial sort of takes into sites and their sort of explosive utility is just sublime, Mimi.
Yeah, and this take in particular is absolutely beautiful. They have like 3 pieces of utility landing backside at once, so the player there has no choice but to die to Buzz. Their post plants as well looked absolutely perfect in that match versus BBL. You see this one here, Viper's pit down, you have a reflank coming through, layering their utility to perfection. DRX, if there's kind of one word to describe them, it's just well drilled.
Yeah, I think that comes into play as well if you watch the way that they're very happy to set up for retakes, because they can have that reset. They can have that same setup of going, okay, we now have this util, this util, rather than, okay, we're going to adapt on the fly. That's not really them.
Yeah, it's not their style. It's not something that I think is the you know, personifies what DRX is all about. But they're going to need their players to pop off today, though, right? And one player actually that DRX really needs to step up, who has been playing pretty solid, is RB. And actually, Stacks had an opportunity to chat with Yinsu in their interview and said the following: we actually have RB who is incredibly flexible on all the agents that he can play, so we actually haven't had much issues with agent swaps or role swaps. And Mimi, this just goes back to the fact that DRX just has that versatility.
Yeah, and this quote is from the era where they planned on playing Foxy 9 in the roster, so they were talking about using RB to be flexible to switch things around to get Foxy in. But even with the same roster of last year, I think RB has had kind of a renaissance. In 2022, he was like, you know, the neon player that was always known for choking in the big matches. Yeah. Now he's come out in his debut playing 3 different agents and looking fantastic on all of them.
I'll be honest with you, there was a point last year where I think most people were sat there going, this guy's just taken a spot away from Buzz being on the duelist. And now we sit there and go, okay, he can fill in every single gap that this roster needs, and actually one of the best players in the server while doing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, him being so flexible and playing all these roles has allowed Buzz to just be that full-time duelist, and Buzz has been fantastic.
Well, you know what, actually, let's go ahead and hear from Buzz, as a matter of fact, who's looking forward to today's showdown with Cloud9.
일단은 저희가 작년에 챔피언스 3등을 하고 나서 좀 더 자신감이 생긴 것 같고, 사실 막 아시다시피 저희 이제 로스터 변경도 없었고, 웬만하면은 저희가 이미 쌓아둔 거에서 좀 더 다지고 더 쌓아두는 단계여서, 오늘 BBL에 비하면 저희가 이제 인터내셔널 대회 경력도 많고, 그리고 저희가 좀 더 저번 챔피언스 때도 좀 장기전으로 가는 경기들이 많았었는데, 아무래도 그런 거에 좀 익숙해져가지고 저희가 장기전으로 가면 갈수록 저희가 좀 더 유리한 상태로 되는 것 같아요. 움츠리면서 하는 것도 좀 느껴지고, 상대가 저희한테 좀 쫄았다 이렇게 표현할 수 있을 정도로 좀 소극적으로 플레이하는 것이 느껴지기도 했고, 일단은 제가 게임 할 때 여유로울 때는 제 상대 팀의 눈을 보는데, 확실히 상대팀의 눈을 봤을 때 확실히 저희가 이겼구나라는 확신이 들었어요. 앞으로 만날 팀들이 절대 쉬운 팀이라고 생각 안 하기 때문에 저희가 일단은 예의 선수가 있는 상대로는 이겨본 적이 없어가지고 사실 다른 팀보다는 어려울 수 있다고 느끼는데, 하지만 체인버가 이제 너프가 됐고, 그런 거에 대해서 이제 예의 선수가 어떻게 할지는 잘 모르겠지만, 방심하지 않고 저희 하던 거 잘 준비해가지고 그대로, 일단 아직 갈 길이 멀기 때문에 저희가 좀 더 이번에 나왔던 실수들에 대해서도 좀 수정하고 고쳐야 될 것 같고.
Interesting takeaway from that was, you know, when he said, now that Chamber's nerfed, you know, yay, we don't know how he's going to deal with it. I think the entire society breathed a collective sigh of relief when Chamber was nerfed because they just didn't know how to deal with Ye.
Yeah, absolutely. It is good to see Chamber out of the way. They're hoping to break that streak of never being able to beat Ye. The other thing I got out of that interview is that he said, I saw it in their eyes and I knew we won the match. And that is like the most badass thing I've ever heard.
If my opponent says that, I'm out. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Guys, wear sunglasses against DRX.
It's honestly like I'm just curious if like that's a strategy. Just give him a death stare and see what happens. Of course, though, for more on DRX's incredible strategies, especially on maps like Haven, let's actually send it over down to a guy who has plenty of hair to share. It's Mitch Man to break down one of their plays.
You know what? I feel like I have to direct this one straight to Mimi after this. I'm not sure Golden Boy and Tom will quite follow. This one's about conditioning, although with the hair that they had earlier, maybe they will understand a bit. This round that we're about to look at takes place in round number 10, right after BBL found their very first round over on Haven. Now, it's important to note that there's been a lot of aggressive pushes out of DRX. Right away, I'll just tell you, 2 of the last 3 rounds, push up C long. Exclusive aggression on that one lane way. Not much else to it. The previous round, they also spotted a turret on middle, and that's important as well. You'll see why. Let's see how the round starts out. It's an interesting default from DRX. Nothing too complex, but just the fact that we're going to begin with A-long aggression out of BBL, and I think DRX had a very good read on that. The reason for that is when you see them peek out on C-long, they have a flash prepared for this angle, but they never actually end up throwing it through. Instead, opting to jump peek it, they don't see any aggression, no need for the flash, and they reset into mid defaults. They know that there's no garage push, and they know that there's no B push. On the back of that, and the recon plus the Astra smoke on A long, they make a good call here. Whether it's because they think they're stacked and pushed up A long, or another read, we don't know. But this, I'm pretty sure I can point to the previous round as why they decide to make this exact play. Keep in mind, they have got a lockdown over on Aslan Machado. They have practically all of the ultimates. And real quick, if we just imagine a C push, you get the plant down, you play C long. Like we've seen from them before. You're just going to get Rolling Thundered, Cosmic Divided off, and now you're screwed. They're just diffusing, and you're in trouble. They have to throw in more complexity. This round sees them destroy the turret that spotted them in the 2v3 last round. This is a good adaptation to remove that early on. This is the mid-round for DRX. You know, already pretty early on, but they're trying to strip the utility out of their opponent's hands. It creates a window while that turret's refreshing, and they'll posture up for this C push. This is where things got really interesting, because remember I said 2 of the last 3 rounds were exclusively C-long pushes. This is all they were doing. Now, they obviously have players in garage. That noise is about to be made here as they go through the turret, or the remaining alarm bot will spot them. That response, if you're a C player who is being rushed consistently and you have a lockdown, this elicits just sheer panic. You're expecting that C-long push, now they're throwing in garage as well. That's another level of complexity for you to deal with. So they decide, and rightfully so, put down the lockdown, look to help on the side a little bit, and they're expecting this push out of garage. There's a smoke to block it, so it's not the biggest deal, and they're slowed by the Killjoy utility. All in all, a good position to play from. Rolling Thunder on DRX complicates it, but the ultimate thing that wins this round is just a guy sitting on mid. Remember, they removed the turret. Now they're focused on C. They're focused on fixing the issues that they've seen in previous rounds. And RB is just going to go walkabouts, catches perfect timing. And here, look at the crosshair placement. This player is not even looking at B. There's no utility there. It was destroyed 30 seconds ago. But the main concern here is they're doing their same C-long push with garage, and they don't know about RB, who comes up behind, catches Aslan Machado completely off guard, destroys the lockdown, allows this Rolling Thunder to actually capitalize. Remember, if they just throw that through, they're just going to get killed by the lockdown. And this is at 8-1 on the scoreboard. Like, the fact that we go into round number 10 with this level of dominance from DRX, a C-long rush that had worked consistently, and they say, let's not just push this down through the 1-lane way, let's do this as a 3-lane push on Haven. Completely caught BBL off guard, and those kind of adaptations are what you see from teams when they're being punished, when they're struggling, when they have to dig deep. But TRX, they will dig deep even if they're 12-0 up. They want to win every single round, and it's one of the most terrifying teams to play against just because of how clean they can be. So there's a little bit of the conditioning from DRX. Honestly, we could talk about them all day long, so I'll toss it back over to the desk to get this game started.
Thank you so much for that exquisite breakdown, Mitch. And I think this just goes to show the layers upon which DRX have grown since we first saw them till now.
Yeah, back at Champions, there was a lot of critique that this was like the pre-round team, and they weren't very good at mid-rounding. But I think with more time, now with the IGLing, they're kind of getting used to it, and I think they've improved a lot at that mid-rounding.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's go ahead and move on, though, to their opponent, which, you know, they looked so outstanding in their opening matchup against HyperX, where they, you know, look, I counted them out, and they they very clearly counted themselves in. You got Leaf, Seppa, Vanity, Zelsis, and Yay. This team of monsters, honestly, Tom. Now we see it come to fruition here.
My God.
They have sunglasses. They're ready.
They are prepared. But yeah, Tom, this team looks very dangerous this tournament.
Yeah, again, like you sort of came into this tournament looking at this as like, okay, it's the sort of guys who are already on Cloud9 and they're bringing in some really heavy firepower, but I'll be honest, it's the people that were there before that have impressed the most this tournament, being fantastic in the form of Leaf and Zeppa. They have been two of the standouts so far, and honestly, there's looking like there's a hell of a lot of depth right now.
Yeah, there really does. And for a fairly new team, I mean, the coordination on point, also getting the crowd behind you, never going to hurt for the side of C9.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, you want to walk out there and have as much people cheering for you as possible because it's loud proof. That definitely does help out. But let's go ahead and check out this clip of Vanity from the Verizon post-match interview, who had some thoughts on the recent meta changes.
The interview is hot.
But I mean, I think people over-exaggerate nerfs.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing happened when Astra got nerfed, for example. Like, people thought she was completely dead. The same thing happened. Like, Chamber is not the same agent. He's not going to take over games nearly as frequently, but he still has, like, a really strong place. But I think you have to have comps around him as the thing. And then, what was the other part, sorry?
It was Stinger and Chamber.
Oh, the Stinger? I mean, the Stinger nerf is just a price nerf. Like, they didn't nerf the gun. Like, yeah, the damage fall-off is a little worse, but it's like, if you're taking those fights with a Stinger, that's probably not the right way to use it, right? So, I don't know. I think people tend to overreact to stuff and give up on it because they want to try something new.
Didn't care much for the interviewer, but beyond that, though,
right.
I think this just goes to show right now that the game Valorant has simply evolved. It's no longer like, oh, you know, just like trying to play for picks.
This is bad,
Yeah.
this is good. Like that, I think that's basically what he said at the end of it. That's the bit I really wanted to take, is that people overreact when there are nerfs or hits and try and move away, whereas what he's doing at C9 is going, nope, we are going to stick with what we had, especially so late coming into this tournament.
Yeah.
And for me, of all the teams that debuted in the alpha bracket, I thought that Cloud9 had the best answers to this new meta. I think both compositions that they brought out in their first matchup were really, really cool. On Lotus, they bring out that Neon Chamber composition that you were asking Vanity about, and it works really quite well for them. You get the kind of double dive of the Omen, as well as that Neon to take a lot of space. You also, on your defense, get to fight a lobby control with that Neon and have the Chamber holding towards C. It just felt really well thought through and felt like they were really playing to the win conditions of this new map of Lotus.
But this sort of round as well was one that basically put HyperX to bed. Like, it was one where you basically go, okay, this is them building back into the map. This is them really getting rolling after what was a bit of a struggle so far. And then just this happens with the Stingers, where such aggressive, fast-paced takes off the back of that utility and using the gun that we thought to be dead and making it look more than viable.
Yeah, and I think that's always been what Vanity and Cloud9 has brought to Valorant. They're the team that really has been the innovators in North America. And while they fell off quite a bit last year, they have come back, and a big part of that flexibility has been Leaf. Last year, he was a duelist player. Last time we saw him internationally playing the Jet, diving on in. Now he's completely flexed on over, playing the Sentinel role and looking just as good.
But that was the thing. We almost worried when coming into this tournament, is like, is this almost going to have killed his career? Having to get him going over to a role that you just think, that doesn't suit him at all. He's so aggressive and fast-paced in what he does, but so far, so good.
Yeah, and it's been a slow transition, but this feels like the big payoff. From Duelist back at Champions to last year in NA, he started playing a little bit of Viper and also the Duelist, and now he's just fully switched on over.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note as well that when you have a player like Leaf who can show up on that stage and play with the confidence that he's been displaying, it is only going to mean success for Cloud9. So watch out the rest of the pool. It's going to be tough. But earlier in the show, though, we actually asked you guys for, you know, good old-fashioned Twitter poll, and we wanted to see who is going to make the most hair-raising play, and it's going to be Zeppa. Tom, you weren't even in the running, buddy.
Come on. Come on. I do want to say that even with our hair growing, mine was still better than Mimi. So I'll take that as a go.
I'm not going to take that. All right. Moving on. Yeah, Zeppa looked great in the poll, and I'm excited to watch him in the games today. The core of Cloud9 looked better than Ye did, and that is impressive. We finally have a team where Ye does not have to be the full star, which is super cool.
That's going to be huge. Oh, well, folks, get comfortable and settle in, because today's show has everything. It's got El Diablo. It's got the boys from Talon. Maybe a little BCJ Chicken, and, of course, Achilleo standing for DRX. And beautiful heads of hair.
Not anymore.
You don't want to miss a minute of it, folks, because lock-in Day 5 starts right now. versus dynamic, fresh ideas. DRX squaring off against Cloud9. An epic confrontation. The crowd is hot. This is insane. The atmosphere in this room is utterly electric, and we are about to witness a war between two outstanding teams.
It has been over a year since we have seen these two teams play against each other. Last time, DRX got sent packing by Cloud9.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a new look though, right? It's a little bit of a change up with the roster we have on one side at least. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how and who comes out on top. And honestly, I feel like I'm going to have to start almost challenging my inner Achilles to battle with what's on the other side of this stage.
Dude, look, I'm going to be real with y'all. When I had to make my prediction for this one, it was very challenging because I think the world of DRX and what they're bringing to the table is literally, if I was running an esports org, it's literally what I would do. Maintain a roster, grow and develop them, and create absolute juggernauts. But on the flip side to that, Mimi, I like what Cloud9 did. They brought in some new players, fresh ideas, dynamic talent. They have the weapons to really create some problems here in the alpha bracket.
For me, Cloud9 is the team that had the best answers to the meta in the offseason, and DRX is probably the most coordinated, well put together team on their executes. It's going to be a great matchup, but we're headed into the vetoes. And I think the most interesting thing here for me is that these are probably the two best Pearl teams of the event heading up against each other, and I'd expect to see that map.
Yeah, potentially. The fans are, there you go. The fans are losing their mind, and as they should. We're going to get Pearl here for our first map, Tom.
The question I always have, though, is that weakness being the one that picks it? Because both teams are incredibly good on this map. Both teams have seen each other play this map. Now, granted, it does give that little bit of extra prep, but I'll also say a Haven pick from DRX, a great map for them, but also a great map for C9 as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because C9 actually went and banned that second in their previous series, which surprised me quite a bit. Yeah, it really is. I really hope we get to see the Yay Jet on that one.
Yeah, but I think about it like this, though, right? Sometimes you're going to show up to the ring, you got to sock them in the mouth. Just tell them where it is, and it's like, hey, you're good on Pearl, so are we. You're good on Haven, so are we. That's what I want to see. Go ahead and challenge them at their home ground and push them to the limit.
Yeah, again, DRX is sticking by this ban of getting rid of Lotus, getting rid of Split in both of their vetoes now that they've played through, which I think can put you at a bit of a disadvantage, but can also prevent you from being kind of upset by weird gimmicks that teams are bringing out with those two new maps.
I think as well it gives you a chance to maybe look at what teams have actually done in the past and try and create something that might beat that, whereas going for the new maps, a lot of the time there's unknown, and that could be quite scary, GB.
All right, well, Prime Gaming Agent Select is about to go underway. We see the hovers and what could be locked in for both C9 and DRX. Are we expecting any shenanigans here, Mimi?
I would expect the compositions to stay the same. I think both these comps are fantastic on Lotus, but very different reasons. DRX is centered around those executes, working with Buzz and setting up fantastically with double initiator utility. For C9, they have a comp that on the attack is great at getting that plant down, playing in their posts.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think both of these comps are going to be fantastic on the attack side.
So
Those
cool.
B-side executes are definitely very different in the manner in which they do them, but are both very effective.
The question to me is who is going to be better on defense? Who can shut down these B-hits?
All right, well, here we go. This battle is about to begin, and when you have a board-certified banger on your hands, you got to call in board-certified casters, I guess. Let's go ahead and send it over to Pansy and High Talk for the cast. Take it away, team.
Thank you, GB. A curious intro, but we'll take it nonetheless. But Mike, I think this game really embodies the brutality of this tournament. These two teams have been incredible on their run so far. A lot of potential being shown. Talk to me about the round one games we've seen and where that puts us now leading into this matchup.
Well, this makes it so interesting, right? To start here on Pearl, both teams obviously demonstrating very strong performances, but again, it feels kind of like we're looking for context here at the start of this veto. Obviously, HyperX, I don't want to say it was the best HyperX that Cloud9 were playing against,
Didn't
right?
feel like it.
The problem being as well, Cloud9, in my eyes, probably dialed up the pressure a little bit.
I think they did.
They wanted to brawl, and I don't think they're going to get those engagements versus DRX today.
they
So very intrigued to see, particularly obviously the performances of Leaf and Zephyr coming across to a very different style of opponent here today.
Yeah, and I think we can say similar things about DRX in their opening game, which I'd love to lean on. But let's dive into it as we are live in this DRX on the attacking side, which of course then means Cloud9 on defense. Let's look how this one begins.
Yeah, he's set up with a wall here, all the way deep towards elbow. DRX approaching closer and closer. Actually, ahead of the suppress will deny this space towards elbow. So yeah, he's got a safe pocket to play in, but Buzz has actually got around the back of that.
Yeah, quite nice from Buzz to find Vanity at the start there, but Yay getting away with two. I thought he had been noted on the first, but maybe unaware of what could be achieved with that wall, but still, massive damage done, and this post plant looking far less robust. A tap on the spike will draw the swing, and Cloud9 wanting that ball right back. This is good so far, and it's only down to RB. Not really in a position to do much with this now. Flashed up, diffuse, already halfway through, and Cloud9 looking all too prepared for what DRX were bringing.
Again, how Ye's able to get away with the second there. I'm not sure if the information just a little chaotic, because there was no contact towards sight. Obviously, the second player in elbow falls immediately. Buzz straight away looking to split that pressure, but at this point, I feel like DRX maybe, again here, just Marco completely unaware
even by process of elimination coming through from the utility from Zest there, the smoke dash in coming out from Buzz, you'd kind of imagine if people are falling on the site, it can only be from the back of site.
Interesting to note as well, with this denial of space towards Elbow, whether or not Cloud9 are just going to force them into this long post plant as opposed to being able to really garner any sort of site control, which DRX are famed for, setting up these crossfires on site, then relying on that raw discipline that they have.
Okay, let's see if that continues. This is a far different setup as well from Cloud9, but that Judge did wonders before, and it's actually Leaf to draw first blood. Yeah, this is super shut down. 21 HP. Yes, they do get towards the back of the site, but they've lost so many bodies on the way. This is very clean, lovely stuff. Clean sweep, prime gaming floors here, second round to Cloud9.
Big boom to the economy as well. Actually heard about Vanity talking about how they're still reliant on these SMGs regardless of nerfs or what else is happening. And yeah, actually decent progress already towards, I think, getting an operator online.
Terrifying.
Come round 4. I mean, what's terrifying is how many collats he was getting away with the other day.
God,
I feel like every other round it was a freebie on top.
Out of all the players, he probably doesn't need the extra one.
No,
you know, like
he'll get a second regardless.
He'll get you it. Just relax. But now for DRX, the work's going to be cut out. We need to see them to kind of bite back a little bit here. It's been quite clean so far from Cloud9. Should be decent enough info off the knife. Probably minimum 2, potentially 3. And work being made across the map now. We've had contact towards A long and a little bit of a look towards B.
DRX probably anticipating some aggression somewhere to try and convert these SMGs. I was going to say if Zelta's actually going to progress any further forward, but Spike not committed just yet. Probe sent out towards B long. Arco will deal with the turret. Try and pull this defensive setup of C9 a little tighter towards double doors.
Yeah. And wherever Leaf is, that's where my eyes are going to. Again, the only one with the rifle in this round for Cloud9, the rest sticking on what they had prior. Obviously, the economy in a really good spot for them, so not a bad plan to try and bolster him up. And DRX still, no subtlety to this. They haven't pulled the plug on the full rotation yet. You still see Zelsis on the other side of the map. Yes, they're pulling Zephyr across, but the site hits coming in. The flash, try and set up Buzz potentially out of that smoke, but it's Vanity at the back of the site. Nothing is clearing back of the site right now in Elbow. And Cloud9 are loving this. They've got the player that we need in the right place. That's Leaf. Zephyr still doing damage. Vanity still holding ground, still holding territory. The spike is dropped just on the other side. So DRX need to fight for it back, and still there is a 2v1 here.
He's got the spike though.
Oh,
he's actually managed to pick it up. RB in the fray.
Seconds.
He's got to start running now if he wants to try and get this down. Yeah, he's going to try and fake it here. 10 seconds. I don't think it's enough.
10 now. This is going to be so close. 7.
I think he's got it.
He might just be there, just about. Tries to maybe just crest the corner deeper from Secret.
Missed the pull as well.
Does he actually get away? And you're right, the pull didn't quite connect. And Zelsis is there. RB couldn't quite stabilize. And that's a third now for Cloud9.
We are seeing a very different approach here, though. C9 playing very receptive, forcing DRX to go exploring on sites. And again, that flash play in towards B Halls completely shut down by the judge. That's something I do want to keep my eye on, which was very, very evident the other day. Obviously, these early rounds, if they're completely free for C9, Zelsis was just farming orbs, literally farming them. So with DRX's kind of slow, progressive default, they've got to make sure that that's kept in check. Vanity already feeling himself down on the stage, and rightfully so. DRX not an awful lot to write home about in these first 3 rounds.
No, and they're going to have to suffer through that burden here as well. You've got the Sheriffs and Friends. He's the ult from RB, but that's not going to really change outcome at this point. Maybe a fact-finding round or something of the such, because so far, Cloud9 looking all too equipped. What's coming their way? And a little bit of a contest towards middle. Buzz and Zest taking a wander.
Not sure if that shotgun actually dealt with the alarm bot and the nano swarm there. Leaf's been pretty good at pulling that alarm bot off where shock dart is heard, but desperate to try and deal with this turret again, pull the rotation of C9, but no real pressure towards either side just yet.
And I'm liking the discipline I'm seeing from Cloud9, because we saw them kind of, I guess, meet fire with fire when you're looking at the HyperX game, and now we're seeing a very disciplined side, which, if anything, if it continues this way, right, let's assume they can match teams on their playstyle. How terrifying is that for the other teams deeper in the tournament, if they get past this game, of course. For now, still just dealing with that blender in middle, but no one overstepping, no one over-peaking, no one overreaching their spot, still holding, making DRX really have to work for their dinner here, and there is no easy approaches. And the 3 players now ready for this crunch. Lovely shot from Zest, but an instantaneous trade, and everything's still favorable towards Cloud9. Ooh,
now, the hot hands off, but again, just it's that discipline on display here. Nobody really trying to brawl with it. Actually, Lockdown invested the run it back as well.
Yep.
I want to make sure that
Lovely.
they absolutely convert this round, and it's looking as if it's going to be just RB left to find. Zelsis will seal the deal with a third.
And again, for me, Mike, it's just a night and day difference here.
I just come back to the same thing once again. You look at this round, look how deep DRX have to creep to even find contact on some of these points.
I mean, they were half committed towards R. If they even wanted to clear B link, they would have to have swung double doors so deep. This is actually really quite curious to watch. I didn't expect this, and it's actually being constructed incredibly well by Cloud9, which is the better part of it, because they're meeting DRX at their own game, and I think this has stumped DRX a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see a DRX timeout called actually very early on. An important buy round coming up, just about touching on some of these ultimates as well. Cosmic Divide available for RB. I said the solution feels like, obviously, I mean, talking about Zelsis farming orbs and getting this early map control, it feels like DRX do need to shift it up a gear a little bit, maybe actually rely on a set piece and execute towards a site.
They certainly have them. They're one of the teams famed for it. They
I'm absolutely with Tom. I still sit in the park of DRX are probably one of the best set piece teams that we have or have
Hands
had.
down. Hands down. I'd love to see them try and explore that option. And the one beauty of this game as well, in my mind, we've had a couple of teams still in that very much rebuilding phase, new roster changes, you know, very different lineups. We know when we look at DRX, and I can probably feel the same about Cloud9 after seeing this, they do have depth, they do have that ability to adjust. I just want to see what DRX do with this, because you started by talking about Cloud9 in their opening game, but again, the same sort of scrutiny can be put towards DRX, because they passed with flying colors in their initial matchup. So
they rolled BBL on Pearl 13-3, so...
Yeah.
And again, that was actually a very convincing attacking half. I think they closed it out 9-3. And even the 3 that BBL scraped together, it wasn't convincing.
No, it wasn't. So, this could be quite telling for the bigger picture here. No connection off the knife, I believe, sitting a little bit deeper at that start. It does allow and warrant a little bit of a further exploration from RB. So maybe building off that initial utility, but look at this response over towards B long. There's already a switch up here from Cloud9.
Yeah, this is with that deeper default here. Marco's going to be tested. He'll pass the first. Actually, we'll get the second as well. Ye will fall, so an early advantage here for DRX. You know, we see Leaf and Zeppa scrambling a rotation towards B, but it's only Marco spotted on the other side of this. So DRX have the perfect read on what's just happened. They know it's going to draw the rotation. Have a favorable engagement towards Vanity here. Currently positioned toward dugout. No utility set up just yet.
Yeah, he's starting to feel that pressure though. This is now going to be stressful. Doesn't get pinged by the knife either, but they should check this. They should be diligent. And they haven't been. It's a mistake made. And an opportunity garnered from Vanity. Desperate timing on the rotation. The flash didn't quite swing the corner, so didn't catch Stacks. Wasn't going to be able to do so. Marco. Timing could be good on this as well. And Cloud9 struggling on numbers. Just the 2 remaining, Zeppa and Leaf. And Marco feels like the inevitable. A couple more steps and vulnerability shown. Yeah, lovely from Marco. And now Leaf unable to find much either. Super deep positioning from Zest here. Yeah, Leaf doesn't have the time to go through that motion. And now he's got problems.
Yeah, the rest of DRX playing this perfectly, knowing that Marco's going to find value there. Stacks to seal the deal. DRX will convert with 4 standing as well. Some ultimates coming online. Didn't really require a massive investment on their part. Still, it almost felt like an initial lazy clearance on site here. Vanity still getting 1. Doesn't end up affecting the round too much. Talking about minimizing mistakes in some of these interviews, and that's DRX's main focus. That's what I've got my eye on. That's where, in my eyes, you want to see things like that absolutely cleaned up.
See what we have now. Again, Cloud9 did turn up the tempo a little bit there, did explore a touch further on these extremities, and maybe considering that again, but it looks like Art will at least be the first port of call for Cloud9. Yay. Posted up just towards middle, waiting to see if anyone comes through, but we know that DRX will play a patient game. Now, information spotted. They will be forced away from this. So DRX going through the checklist here.
I'm not even sure if the drone, actually, it was Zeppa that took the tag, but whether or not the operator was spotted.
Did it see it, yeah.
Flash will clear through mid. It's not pinging on anything on the other side. Now, Marco did try and fake this with the smoke, but there was nobody even peeking B long for info. Zeppa going to clear through as well.
I think Vanity's seen a fair amount here. Yeah, there we go. And they're already at the doorstep, so this is going to be the just guns in hand. Vanity's position should be very much at the forefront of their minds here, but he does get one on the swing, does find stacks. And now we look at the rest. The site's pretty much under control. The red's going to be the first port of call, and then the plant second. 40 seconds on the board, plenty of time to play with, and the divide in place.
The Viper's pit available as well, but a lot of investment already in this. And that's Leap shuts it down.
Huge work. Cloud9 bursting onto the scene. And the shot from Ye is divine. And that is unbelievable work from Cloud9 there on this retake. Mike, it felt like the tempo was just switched up. They hit the perfect timing throw on the flash.
I mean, I'm curious. The investment of the Cosmic Divide doesn't necessarily stop them at the front door. There's space for Cloud9 to play behind. I was curious about the Viper's bit. Should come through as the plant is going down, but unfortunately, it's Marco committing to the plant.
Yeah.
So again, it's just caught in no man's land here. I mean, you got to question the placement of where he's trying to put that down. Cut off a choke point. It's a very safe Viper's bit to just maintain control of the spike.
That is a really nice retake. And mistakes from DRX.
Fantastic retake, yeah, but the post plant just feels so off from DRX.
A little shaken, maybe. I don't know. It did not feel secure by any means. You're right.
Even with Marco coming through and getting the res onto stacks as well. Yeah. He's got so much to worry about with that Viper's bit available.
No solutions truly made here for DRX. Yes, they posted a roundup, but not quite enough yet. Buzz going to be investing the knives this round. Everyone else still able to fashion a purchase. No sweat on the other side. Could start building that money back up here. Look how deep they're sitting. I've got to note it towards A.
Another round, yeah.
They're reading this tempo incredibly well.
You hear the Blade Storm pop, you know that they're going to go exploring for this opening engagement. Cloud9 once again, rinse and repeat. Look how deep Zeppa's using the Trailblazer from.
Yeah. That's huge. Big info, and they're now going to be forced to fight, try and dive in. Spot! I thought he got his head just jammed against the wall, but he actually makes it out alive. And Buzz still fighting the fight here for them. 2 big kills. And patrolling down by Pit. And that deep hold gets broken, isolating the one towards dugout. At least this is tricky. Buzz deciding time to back away as the ult fades. And it's a free pick though, no trade. Gonna need one more of those at the very least to even make something out of this round, considering how far away Ye is. He's more concerned about keeping that operator at hand, and Leaf is making a damn good go of this round. Tap on the spike, gonna pull the utility. Again, he's costing them money here. This is not a bad round at all for them, making the best of a bad scenario, and Ye will want to keep this operator in play, so that will stay where it's at. But talk to me about this round, because it feels like we just had Buzz basically being the difference maker
here.
There
was no hesitation this time. Again, DRX are exploring the map. They know that nobody's holding close contact on R. I think actually on the back of the Trailblazer, this is the one where almost the penny drops. Yeah, they're playing super deep here, guys. We have to push this default forwards a little bit, and they're rewarded for it. Really nice pace change from DRX. Even whether or not actually C9, whether or not the Blade Storm is the difference maker here. If that's the indication of some aggression on the side of DRX, whether or not C9 now will revert back to maybe getting a little more aggressive. With Ye on that operator, maybe not.
No. Yeah,
Again, he's on the stage. He's not going to be the one to go aggressive in the early round.
No, I'm looking at Zelsys potentially, or someone of the such to maybe try and get in their faces, which we saw before. It was that lazy clear up towards what? I guess like B when he pushed up long, it caught him off. That it happens, but quite a preemptive timeout from Cloud9. I still feel like they could have run this, but maybe feeling they'd rather be preventative, make sure they've dealt with what DRX have changed up. But
I think
also the money's in a tricky spot too.
Yeah, purely because that round is indicative of DRX almost getting a better grasp for what C9 are doing.
Yes. Yeah, it is relatively telling. They've had basically no resistance through art. They've gone that far. You hear how deep that dog's come from as well. That was almost backed by Spawn. So let's see if...
Well, stark contrast as well, because think about the previous. It's Zeppa and Ye posted up very deep. The drone spots it, and they drift back into this deep setup. So DRX are looking for these early round indicators. Like I said, it's the first time we've seen a confident response on the back of it. Zelsa's barely been challenged here, though, towards A main.
No,
this time cautious of the, maybe on the back of the flash of going for the orb. He is one off the ultimate.
That flash was so high, though, that could have been anywhere, and we have seen that kind of lurk coming through from, I think it was RB. Yeah, so, you know, maybe temper him enough, but it looks like DRX have found at least the approach that they want here, which is going to be trying to explore through art. But Ye willing to fill that void almost instantly. And rotations. They're reading this well. This could be quite nice, actually. DRX a little further ahead, I'd say, on the rotation game than Cloud9, who will have to respond in kind, dealing with any pressure that could have been left around art. They have not necessarily a free B side, but near on too. Vanity left on, Buzz on site, and they know they need to clear back as well.
Vanity's actually going to have to slip the net.
Beautiful, beautiful. Right call as well, I'd say. Did only have that stinger, so he wasn't going to be able to take down the entirety of DRX, but could prove more potent on the play back in.
Looked fantastic for this retake on B side previously. See a couple of slip-ups to see if DRX can tighten things up now.
Yeah, this is nice so far. These angles are gorgeous. Zest, free access, almost Celsius. What? Pops the O, and he needs to get running as well. Somehow it's gone to this point, making it 2v1. How have we gone here again? Celsius in human performance. Coming light in this round. The fuse comes in. It is perfection personified. Cloud9 on these retakes are unreal.
This is another one. You see the plant location here and you think DRX are going to post up. They're going to literally revert into what works best for them.
The crossfires looked really nice. They were solid.
They looked great. They did not hold for more than a second. Just instantly ripped apart. And again, the molly here behind Pillar, reading it perfectly. I mean, I'm getting very concerned now. DRX need to actually lean back onto something that doesn't necessarily feel comfortable for them, which is literally getting away with opening engagements. Finding that numbers advantage early on.
God, it's terrifying
because their post plant is not working.
Yeah, one of their key pillars of strength isn't there for them right now, but then it feels like you're almost playing into Cloud9's game if you then try and adjust to that slightly more brawly style.
They're going to get the same engagements that DRX were getting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's not bad. Those stacks starting out comfortably towards Ye, walks away barely scathed as well. So that's a beginning they've not really had to play with so far.
Celsius once again unchallenged. It's a deep control towards A main here.
No flash for Zephyr either.
I think he should just be getting one off. Yep. Yeah, he's got one off cooldown now, so we'll be able to flash here for Celsius. This could be deadly, Lauren.
Yeah. Celsius has so much to play with once you feel it here. The flash is incredible, but he gets dealt with. Only finds one, but he finds all of the other side, apart from one player, Marco, who is not around this side of the map. If they try and double pump at this point, who knows? It's 40 seconds. Zephyr on the way in, getting the ult popped as well. KJ's ult is ticking down. Zephyr is the god who will not be moved. Holds him at the front door. Spike now lost, and this lurk is a million miles away. Marco needs to find some insane impact here to alleviate that pressure that's on Zest. And Leaf's already on duty. 18 HP is all that remains on Zephyr, but he's just standing tall. How long can he last in this position? The smoke goes up. The flash! He's just overwhelming, but he's buying time. 10 seconds. They haven't cleared Pit. They haven't cleared Secret. But the tap on the spike, and Leaf is so close. Bye! Perfect play from Cloud9. Marco could do nothing now. It's all a matter of time. And all Vanity has to do is stay alive. Ooh, insult to injury almost there, but it's a 7th for Cloud9. What a round again.
It's just insane the amount of support that Vanity's able to supply in that situation as well. I mean, we've been talking about it. Zelsa's going unchallenged here. I mean, it's unlucky not to get another couple of kills here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that first throw just a little off, but you're right, that could have been 2, 3 potentially.
Again, the contact comes so deep that actually Leaf makes this rotation all the way across, and he's able to get the lockdown before DRX have even crested onto site. They haven't even got off stairs yet.
This is a really nice team to watch. I'm going to be honest, I very much had DRX in this matchup. I put a lot of credence in consistency. Yay. Let's get the heal off, and we'll be able to fall away from this. Only stacks with a rifle here, so he's your hero play. Danger man, you may argue, and 2 players suppressed. So already realizing that Zelsis has made it on this site very quickly.
Oh, he's 4 with Cloud9 here. Obviously noting the Killjoy utility as well, effectively a 3rd on top of the knife. It's going to take DRX a while, though, to re-explore mid. Still got that alarm bot to deal with. Just outside Link.
Oh, the flash, I think, actually pinged on long, so they might hold this for a little bit longer. I think it was just on RB.
Yeah, thinking DRX have cut sound and just waiting for an opening. Vanity's actually giving up the angle here. The Seekers won't tell them just yet, but Vanity might have spotted.
Yeah, he's definitely heard the steps now. They're going to try and quicken the pace, but catching one in the heels. That wasn't the spike, though, so that keeps in play. Just chipping away the defensive side. I like what Stax is doing, trying to be the one to make some sort of damage happen, because they've got to get a body on the floor, and it ain't going to happen. Deleted by Ye. And now a 5v3, and these weapons are not ideal. What year is it? Rolling it back, says Desperate. Tries to fly in and finds nothing but force, and now RB left in a 1v4. The fuse already beginning. The slow orb. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Cloud9, gotta say, Mike, I am thoroughly impressed.
I mean, it's just, we have the one that's expired due to the clock. I feel like we've had, what, 6 successful retakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very concerning for DRX's attacking half, which is usually where they excel. And you think back to that round where you think, yeah, they've managed to grasp exactly what C9 are trying to achieve, but there's been very little response after that.
No, there's not been much progress of the information found. We do see Buzz back on the Bladestorm, though, so hopefully that does find some value here if he wants to invest it. Flash finds nothing, so there should be the go signal for Zelsis to start building.
Yeah, he's going to post up there now with an operator.
And there it is. There's the flash to alert the mid, maybe, where the vast majority
and now the problems start to show with DRX playing this slow. C9 are playing a different early round every single round.
Really hard to pin down.
Yeah, so they don't have anything tangible to go off. They have no real knowledge.
Timing's great.
Zephyr caught it, yeah.
Quite safe as well, but he actually double dips on it, finds Marco. Stax barely makes it out alive. But this is 4 players on an A-side lean, leaving all that faith and defensive capability to leaf on the other side by B, and it's mostly the utility setup. But again, we know that DRX are not quick on these executes. They will take their time. They will be trying to be methodical in approach, and it allows for these rotations to come in.
Themselves a free B site at least.
Ooh, first time we see a lurk from Stax.
Hasn't mattered too much though. C9 have been phenomenal on these retakes.
Now the timing's going to be a little offset here because you've got Ye a mile away, and that mid play still coming back.
Still an alarm bot there.
Yeah. Okay. And now there should be the warning. Right, they know there's a lurk in play. That's going to be now noted. Quick turn from Leaf, and actually the damage achieved. The flash is fantastic for Stax. Has another. Invests. And there's the trade. So now we look at what's remaining. The 3 players make it just 2. Buzz and RB getting demolished by Zephyr. 24 HP in a dream, and it ain't gonna come true today. RB still trying to hold on, but Ye's positioning not considered, but the time is on DRX's side.
I mean, again though, as good as a successful retake, Zephyr is absolutely insane. One of the players that I wanted to see repeat that performance. It's just ridiculous. DRX come into this, gonna struggle maybe for utility, but he's just absolutely insane.
Really
But the only reason they lose that is because of the lineup.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, he's so cautious of once again DRX relying on that deep hold in the post plant.
Okay.
Last time with the Bladestorm, we did see C9 literally sit in spawn, forcing DRX to shift walk the entire map.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see if they actually go for this, because they're still sitting posted up on the Zelsis is going to pop the ult at just the right time. And it's just incredible work from Zelsis. Oh, and Zephyr as well. It's a blender. And DRX is just left strewn across the floor. There's nothing left of them, just Marco. The Cloud9 wall will not be moved. It's just unreal performance. Mike, I'm sold on the Cloud9 roster. I thought this would be DRX bringing a much closer game here.
Absolutely. I came into this looking at C9. They've set the bar very, very high in that opening series versus HyperX, but I mean, most of my questions have been answered already.
It's just the fact that they've been so adjustable here, a brilliant approach to playing against DRX. They were not caught out, they were not too headstrong to adjust. This has been really eye-opening for us here, and well, I wonder if it's the same for the desk. Let's hear what they have to say.
Indeed it is. One thing that is very apparent here is that Coach MCE's prep work with the C9 roster leading in this one, Mimi, has been nothing short of exquisite.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Coming into this match, we were talking a lot about DRX and how good their B hits are on this map, but the prep work from C9 utterly shut them down. Let's take a look at the pistol round here, where Ye instantly puts his wall up, back calls, and DRX try that same hit. Shock, dart, flash, all coming in at once, but the wall blocks that that flash, so Buzz pretty much dies for nothing. Ye gets a second kill, and then C9 come through with a fantastic retake. Now another round, a little later on, similar idea. This time Buzz doesn't want to go back halls to die, but still C9 has a player back there. Vanity is holding, gets a kill, and buys time for his teammates to flash out of the smoke and win in the retake. Cloud9 was fantastic at the retakes and the preparation throughout this half.
See, and that's where I almost want to now try and take this forward a little bit and look at Zellsis, because going into the attack last time, their B-side execution was different. They would have a deep flash coming out from Zeppa, and then a close flash if they made contact from him. So we've witnessed one team adapt to how they played before and fix their defensive setup. Now I want to take a look at whether or not DRX can adapt to what is there on the other side from Cloud9. Have they made those same defensive changes to fix and bring this back in the second half, or is it still going to be a strong attack coming through from C9?
Yeah, this has been an absolutely gorgeous game to watch. I mean, top to bottom, I don't think anyone could have asked for something better than this. And DRX, if there's one team that's going to find these solutions, find these answers, Mimi, it is going to be DRX. They have the capability to do this.
But it's going to be difficult. 9-3, they have to start strong with this pistol.
Cuss!
Exactly.
Let's go cuss!
That's right. We're just hoping for some curses to come into effect if you're a DRX fan. But for now, though, let's send it back over to your board-certified casters. It's Pansy and IPOC.
And I guess they are right in the sentiment that DRX are a team capable of these adjustments, but I'm not seeing it in the server right now.
Not this DRX. This is, we very rarely see them play this sloppy, make as many mistakes as they have done. And unfortunately, there's a very, very small margin for error now. With this scoreline, it's so difficult to formulate some sort of comeback. And obviously, pistol, round 2, that's where it starts for me. But initially, not convinced by that first half performance that DRX are going to be able to bring this back.
No, I'm absolutely in unison with you, because you're seeing 3, I'd say, of Cloud9 really stepping up, and one of them isn't even Ye. He doesn't need to be activated. He's been fine. He's played his role. He's been in the right place when needed, but it has been everyone else. And again, that's a horrifying prospect for any team against them, that they just have Ye on, you know, a cool 8-5. He's fine. He doesn't need to be activated yet, but still. Let's see what this attacking side can actually bring. Pretty early work towards B long. And the spike now going to be joining the other 2.
This on the wall there for Zellsis. Yeah, his wall though will block off towards connector here. Leaf actually will put down a nice one. Hasn't popped it just yet. Marco will get the kill just ahead of that.
Very fine couple of seconds difference here, but there's already a pivot coming out from Cloud9, it looks like, re-exploring either through middle.
They're going to jump on the wall.
Look at DRX. Yeah, they are.
DRX aren't going to... Oh, maybe actually with...
There's already a ping.
Zest slipping back towards sewer. Stax is there as well.
Yeah,
actually 3 members of DRX this side.
Yeah, we're seeing not necessarily a mirrored approach, but super deep. And Zellsis needs to sell them the perfect fake. Yeah, it's fine. Just clip off half of that and it looks real nice. Buzz. Let's get Zellsis, and here's that diligence I wanted to see. Yeah, deep clearing, lovely work from Zeppa. And that's a stark difference and a stark contrast from that first half we saw coming out from DRX, who almost fell foul to that. And now, even with all that consideration, we are in a 3v3 post plant now, and it's tricky to move these players out of these positions.
Vanity trying to set something up and create a little pocket for Leaf to play in. Yeah, and he will do.
Much nicer. Leaf got a little bit more room to work now. Just a tap on the spike. Timing. Oh my God!
Just a second.
What? Zest turns in time. Marco pulled off from the defuse, and now it's the swing from Zeppa 10 HP, and now the other side. Wait, Marco got Vanity, the 1v1, but it ain't halfway, and the swings there. Cloud9 refused to lose. Double digits instantly in the second half now.
The problem being, again, though, look at this setup on A site. It's not like DRX at all. RB has no safety net whatsoever. He's almost caught in astral form there, but there's no crossfire set up. There's 3 members of DRX that did this 15, 20 seconds ahead of this site hit coming through. There was 3 members of DRX on this side of the map, and they still weren't ready.
Worrying times for DRX now. This is like...
Zeppa's just running through with a frenzy. It's like Dry swinging into dugout. PS2 with a frenzy.
Yep.
It's such a difference in confidence that we're seeing on display here.
Oh no, Cloud9 are, as in name, as in nature right now, absolutely loving what they're doing. And DRX made to look bad at their own game, which is crazy to me. Stax a quiet performance so far, 5-12, certainly not what he wanted, but we'll get big information here, but remember what they're working with. Sheriff's in a classic.
I doubt Cloud9 are going to respect the fact that 3 of them got pinged.
No, they could not care less. Going to go through the motions. Fully aware they have more than likely superior weaponry here. The rifle even for Zellsis as well. So, Marco, not bad. And there's the response though. So shut down pretty quickly. Anyone else to cause threat? No, it doesn't look like it, so the plant should be coming in. Vanity could get chipped away at here though. Anyone else able to make much of it? That's a shot, Marco! Some heat-seeking shots out of that Sheriff, but 2v3 still tricky. Zellsis alive, and that angle is rotten to play against.
It's almost a one-way under Ye's wall there towards main. Dirty stuff from Cloud9.
Oh, Marco. There's not much really to do here. Making a valiant effort for sure. But Vanity with a round, and Cloud9 with 11.
So they have one opportunity to stop the inevitable here. DRX 2 away from the Vipers bit, but that's the only thing. Even RB bringing a Bulldog into this.
Yep.
A couple of members from Cloud9 forcing up, at least Leaf and Zellsis down to 500 and 100 respectively, but I mean, with the way this is going, can't really fault them.
No, let them play right now, and it looks quite all in. Flash finds nothing early, so that should allow them safe passage, at least towards the main.
And just look at the difference in space denial immediately from Cloud9. It's such a contrast from DRX's attacking half.
RB has to back from
Look at the utility.
It's all encompassing. Stax either has to commit towards standing in the most awkward position on stairs. Zellsis all too aware of it, and then force them away. RB only has one place to play on towards site, and that's so quickly checked. Stax tries to make a play through the wall, but still gets found pretty quickly. Cloud9 just in absolute motion right now. And Buzz, irrelevant to outcome here, flashed off, forced away, plant coming in. You got Ye a mile above you, and Cloud9 make it to 12.
The layers of utility and that execute are just so overwhelming for DRX. Again, the slow orbs coming through, the gravity well at the start. Again, just noting the space denial on the side of Cloud9. DRX respected, they try and play deep, but then there's 2 flashes that come through that are absolute perfection from Zeppa. Stax is desperate to try and support outside this Cosmic Divide, but eats that flash.
And it's no man's land, right? There's Cloud9 are hyper aware of the only places available. You've got Pit, which
They literally run it down to RB and dugout.
Straight up, they know it's the only place you can really play, or if Stax is downstairs, right? And you've already cleared that. So again, Cloud9 very well-constructed rounds, putting on a beautiful display here. Glad it wasn't just that flash in the pan in the first. This is commanding, considering we saw DRX put up numbers like this in their opening game on this map. So the difference is huge. And at this point, you certainly can't compete if you don't compare with these 2 teams. It's just night and day. And we look at what's the approach this time. Cloud9 giving us a different look here. Over towards that B site. Very much all in though.
DRX already got bodies towards the side to try and stop this. Looks like it might be Zellsis to lead the charge here. The Seeker's behind it as well.
Okay, does get sent away. Not so free this time. Buzz and Marco making a go at this one. Much better crossfires being held, but there's still life in them yet. Vanity's still alive, Leaf's still alive, and Zellsis still alive. And Stax and RB now sweating bullets, because they've got the ult ticking down, 10 seconds to make something happen. And Leaf is saying no. They want this map done. They want out of here. RB, last chance to dance in this. 20 seconds. And look at the positioning from Zellsis. Won't even be able to get towards site at this point. RB's options starting to dwindle now with the second start to pass, and there it is, Zellsis to claim the 13th, but Cloud9 looking a cut above the rest.
What a phenomenal performance from Cloud9 here. Again, uncharacteristic from the side of DRX, looking flustered in so many of those rounds, unable to find a response.
Straight off the stage too there.
Look, I mean, looking for a game plan at the start of it as well. We just, Marco made some of these interesting, but yeah, that's really demoralizing.
That's a heartbreak when you get kind of beaten at your own game as well after having a great performance on this map not too long ago. In that debut round where all of us thought, okay, DRX looking good, but now we've got their work cut out here with Haven next coming up.
They didn't even meet the mark of PaperX. They got one less round than PaperX.
Bloody hell, what is this team? Cloud9, monstrous. Monstrous in approach. I cannot wait to see this next map. It's, if anything, just getting to enjoy Cloud9 in near on what looks like perfect form here. As said on the other side, DRX flat performance to start with. There's no two ways to talk about it. We have to be honest about it.
Can't
Did not look good.
There's
no way to really paint this a prettier picture for them. It's mental reset, hopefully. That's it.
Well, again, coming into this series, I was talking about obviously Cloud9, the ones to set the bar of where we now expect them to maintain, or at least that's my expectation. But for DRX, this was so far below. I've got to say, probably the worst international performance we've seen from DRX, period.
I'm with you. I'm in complete agreement. I'm sure the devs will want some time to really talk this one over. We do still have Haven coming up, which will be DRX's choice. And for their sakes, it has to be better than this.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.
Well, to quote my good friend Fion on Fire on Twitter, that might be the last time that anyone ever lets Cloud9 play Pearl for 2023. In a dismantling performance, DRX left without a solution, and they are essentially now searching for answers. That is a Cloud9 dominating finish. And let's dive into this one here because really, Mimi, it started from the beginning. It was unreal.
Yeah, this was such an incredible game from Cloud9, where DRX never felt like they had a way in. It started with C9 having some great preparation, countering out the game plan that DRX wanted to bring into Pearl, and after that, it was just fantastic adaptation from Vanity and MC.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like teams picking into a map, a lot of the time you have to have faith in your own structure or own default, but the fact is it almost looked like they came into this and went, okay, how can we mess with everything that DRX want to do?
Yeah.
And they did it wonderfully throughout the entire map.
And the thing DRX wanted to do was win post plants. That was a big win condition for them the other day when they were playing on Pearl. And they were not allowed to win pretty much any post plants here. Cloud9's retake game was incredible. The game plan of just double flashes, fast retaking through smokes every single time meant DRX never had a chance to get set up in these post plants.
Yeah, but that was the thing. They either sort of disrupted them in the post plant or they disrupted them before they even got there. Like some of the Zell's aggressive flashes deep were just unbelievable.
At 63% win rate, that is quite unusual on Pearl. Pearl tends to be a map where the post plants are really strong, especially towards B. Wasn't the case here.
Yeah, it's just like the fact that they won everything. They denied DRX any kind of comfort whatsoever. And one of the players that was instrumental in doing that.
Wait, who was it, GB? Who was it? There was someone. I think I highlighted someone earlier. Who was it, GB? It was
one of our hair-raising players of the day.
GB?
It's Zeppa.
I was a Zeppa. Honestly, who could have seen this coming? Like, that guy would have to be
Certainly
such
not
a
you, Tom.
genius to
Certainly
just
not
predict
you.
the guy who was absolutely unreal the last time they played this map. I'm brilliant, Zeppa's brilliant, and honestly, the map that he had was unbelievable.
Don't compare yourself to Zeppa. He has a great head of hair. You do not, good sir. But this guy had a great map. We talked about the double flash comp being so good for them, and this guy was a huge part of it. So much value out of those sky flashes for his team, and also just every retake, he was getting a 4K.
Yeah, you wanted to try and deny him that, but the reality is like deny that he had such an impact in that game. But no, he was unbelievable. And let's move on though to our Verizon high-speed moment of the match because it doesn't get any more high speed than that Zeppa 4K that we saw earlier.
Which one?
Actually, which one was it? Was it the first?
Was it the second?
Yeah,
here it is.
The third one, maybe?
Pistol, I don't know.
Oh yeah, it was the pistol. This was literally, you know, like we're into the half already. It's 9-3, and everyone thinks to themselves, okay, we just gotta shut down Zeppa. And then Zeppa says, and he stops it right in its tracks. This kid is unbelievable, me.
Yeah, I mean, he is on another level right now for Cloud9. Absolute perfect play out of him. At so many clutch situations that he continued to manage to win miraculously. For DRX, I didn't even feel like they were playing particularly poorly in that one. I think, sure, they got counter-strat at the beginning, but they had good ideas to adapt. C9 was just always one step ahead, and their players were performing at such an insane individual level that DRX never even had a chance to bring it close, which we've never seen that happen to DRX before.
Yeah, it was so scary to watch DRX, a team that we've praised for amazing consistency, really struggle to find any kind of solutions there. But, you know, here's the thing. You ever get that feeling that a camera's looking over your shoulder?
Right now,
and
actually.
Oh, yeah, I always feel it. Well, that's because you're in our aim lab shoot around. There it is. That's a toss. Anyway, it's going to be Leaf. For our aim lab shoot around here. He's going to shoot some circles, but we were talking about this during the game, Tom, and you know, traditionally everyone's been like, Yay, El Diablo, star player, best player in the world, blah, 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 blah. This guy's literally on a team now where he does not have to worry about that, and it's because of guys like Leaf and Zeppa.
Yeah, he's literally challenging to be a top 5 member of his own team. It's quite difficult at the moment. Like, don't get me wrong, he's still fantastic, but it must be a bit of a weight off. They're actually starting to give me, it's very early, but they're starting to give me vibes of like Loud. Where Loud, it's like, who is the star of this team? It's
everyone.
Like everyone is the star of this team, and that's the thing. You even look at some of the plays that the likes of like Vanity are making with the judge to directly counter things that DRX are doing. It's like it's so difficult not to just almost marvel at this team at this point.
And that's the thing. We can marvel about the individuals. We can marvel about the preparation, or